Hello everyone, welcome back to Life's Unfair, my Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous playthrough series. Today we're going to be picking up where we left off. I reloaded an old save with Camellia alive, and we re-exploited the bug which allowed us to enter the cave from way up on the cliffside. So we're down here looking for a way to maybe progress without having to take on the Kabriri Cultist. So my hope is that once we get past these gargoyles over here, we can move on and skip the Kabriri Cultist, move straight on to the boss, because my corruption is, I was forced to rest in here again, and I'm right on the verge of level 2 corruption, which is going to affect the stats. Level 1 corruption, not so bad for Razor Fiend or most of my party. Level 2 corruption is going to decimate my ability to continue. So this entire time I have like a save file that that I really don't want to use, because it's getting further and further back in time. The save file is one that is right after I exit the Leper's Smile. And move on before I do any of the crusade battles, before I talk to basically anyone on the other side of Leper's Smile or do anything. And I'm really hoping against all hope that I don't hit a wall here and then get forced to use that save file, because that would basically erase about maybe 5, 6 more, actually. Probably 7 or 8 hours worth of gameplay. It would be completely erased if I were forced to use that file. So the hope is that I don't have to do that. You can see after the reason I had to rest here is because the gargoyle encounters were really tough. So I rested up, and my goal was to clear the gargoyles that were in between me and the way out of the cave. So there are 2 ways out of the cave, right? You can go back the way you came in, but if you do that, you exit at the base of the the cliff there, the base of the pathway, that raised pathway through the canyon, and you are basically at the foot of the hill, and there are a bunch of undead and zombies and ghouls and stuff that annihilate you, because obviously you're not supposed to be exiting the cave that way. You're supposed to be entering it that way after you kill the zombies. But if you do exit that way, then you're put straight into combat with some pretty nasty stuff. So it's not an option. The only option to exit is this over here. And you can see I made some attempts against some of the gargoyle packs. The other gargoyle pack, there's a pack that's standing kind of in the west side of the cave, but I can't kill them. There are 4 of them, and I try a bunch of different things to take them out. Can't take them out. So I'm like, okay, well, they're not blocking my path, so I'm just going to proceed from here. I'm going to maybe come back for them later. And you can see where the cave exit is. It's the well that we found Social near, and you can't enter this way. You only have the option of re-entering that way once you exit that way. So after that, we're like, okay, so the Kabriri Cultist is back on the cards. We gotta take him out. We gotta kill all these ghouls over here and everything. And so, yeah, it's back to square one. But now we rested, so we do have spells available and stuff. You get some lucky shots off here. Obviously, look at how much damage we do. Haste is amazing here. And Sela, she actually puts out some decent damage. Some decent area of effect damage as well. So we take out these ghouls easily and run into one of our other buddies, Regill. He's the last one of our companions that we were missing. As I mentioned, Woldriff is gone. He ran off, as he said he was going to in Act 1. He said he was going to jump ship at the first opportunity, but I guess he really did it. And so we send Regill back down, and then we're like, okay, now what do we have to do? Now, obviously the last encounter between us and the top of the hill are these gargoyles, and they're tough. They are very tough. So this actually took a very long time. I'm just showing you my successful attempt here, and I'm actually going to speed through it as well because there's a lot of inventory management and stuff like that goes on. It comes down to us dropping Stinking Cloud on them, hoping that they get CC'd, and then, yeah, Slumber as well. So let's speed through this and get a look at what happened here. So yeah, but I'm luckily able to put one to sleep. The only issue with Stinking Cloud there is, right, if any of my party members walk into it, they're going to be affected too. Unfortunately, that gargoyle really, really wanted to kill Ember, and it chased her a huge distance, but we were able to prevent her from dying and take all these guys out. In spite of that could have really gone a lot worse here. So after that, we head up the cliff, and it's time to take on the Kabriri Cultist and friends. Unfortunately, as I mentioned yesterday, we did lose all the footage of the actual kill, so I'm just going to show you a failed attempt and talk about what I did to take him down. And here, look at this. I just noticed at this point in my run that I was not wearing armor on Razor Fiend, and I was not wearing armor on Sela. I had taken their armor off, I think back in... when did I take it off? I took it off back in, I want to say back when I was in Leper's Smile, back in the caves below Leper's Smile, because I needed them to be able to move fast to run away from some creatures on the Vescavor side that I was kiting, and I never put it back on. So this entire time, neither of my tanks has been wearing their armor. So yeah, needless to say, after I put it on, things are a little easier, but unfortunately... this is the worst encounter in the whole place, so it doesn't really help here. This guy took over 2 hours, but it would have helped a lot. The run would have gone a lot quicker if they had been armored. A lot of those gargoyle fights would have been way easier. All right, we're gonna try and take on the Kabriri Cultist. Not a fun fight at all. Obviously, buff up before the fight starts. And then witness the majesty of my, impeccable skill. No, not quite the opposite. So even with all these summons, look at this. Look at this. Look at that. His area of effect just does massive damage. Thankfully, the undead don't really get affected by that, but my entire party does, right? Sela goes down, dies instantly. Ember dies shortly after that. This is my first attempt. I do make several other attempts after this, several dozen attempts after this that go incrementally better each time. But so in terms of tactics, how I ended up taking this guy out was I ended up using the length of the canyon to fight him, because he moves really slow, but some of the undead with him move kind of fast. So I shoot them and I run back and until I drop aggro, and I kill and run, kill and run, and it took a very, very long time because of the varying speeds that they run at and things like that. It was really tough. I also lost the footage of the fight in here. Thankfully, Queen Galfrey comes in clutch here. She clears the guys out here. You don't even have to get involved. Once you open that door and the fight starts, you can just pull all your guys back and Queen Galfrey will kill everyone in there for you. That is assuming you've recruited her to the crusade, which I did. And she, let me tell you, without her, I probably wouldn't have been beating the boss here. She saved, I think she saved the run. So after that, if you have picked up the Wand of Zacharias from back in Leper's Smile, or the caves below Leper's Smile, you can open up this optional section of the chapel, and you can see Zacharias standing over there. If you walk up to him, you trigger a conversation. You have the option to give him back he takes a wand regardless of if you want to give it back to him or not, but you have the option to fight him or join him. And if you join him, you get access to the Lich Mythic Path, but I already lost the Trickster Mythic Path way back when I didn't do the library thing correctly, so since then I'm like, well, I'm just going to do all the good choices. So I opt to fight Zacharias instead of unlocking his path here. So you can see what I do, right? I have everyone positioned over to the side, and then with Camellia, I summon a bunch of skeletons right next to Zacharias, and then I hurry through the dialogue. I do pick all the choices here. I could just opt straight into fighting them, but I do go through the choices because I want to, all the lore, blah, 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 in case it unlocks options further down the line. Right, so then he's engaged with the skeletons here, and I run away with Camellia. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want a save where he's engaged in combat, where I don't have to run through the dialogue choices. Right, but this is setting up my actual strategy. Okay, so I've run Camellia away, I've run everyone away, and now we're out of combat. And then we just need to save and make sure Zacharias is completely reset back into his original position, and then we can engage the actual strategy. And let me tell you, this is the height of cheese. It took me a long time to discover this strategy, and I myself don't even know why it works. I don't know exactly what is going on here. But I'm going to speak about the things. So I don't know how replicatable this strategy is, to be completely honest. I don't know if it's a unique thing that he bugged out in my game, or if it's just one of his spells that he casts that caused him to bug out like this. Okay, look at this. We're all positioned here. Right, you can see that I have Darren in my party instead of Sela, and the reason I switched them out is because Darren has more summons, more skeletons that he can summon, and the reason I need those is because of this. Now watch what happens, okay? So he's engaged in combat, right? I don't have to go through the dialogue. I summon the skeletons on top of him, and look at this. Look at this. Right, he casts that, so don't make sure you summon them behind him. So, and look at that, he gets stuck. So the reason you summon them behind him is because he casts that wave of enfeeblement or whatever, and it exhausts anyone it touches, so you don't want to be caught with that. And look at the insanity of this. He cannot act, he can't hit, he can't cast, because I guess he has an aura that damages people around him, or, but it doesn't damage the undead. And the only spell or anything that I have in my arsenal that does any damage to him, I guess Arrow of Law would damage him if it actually hit, but it never hit, is Ember. So Ember with her flame arc or whatever, it's the only thing that actually does damage to him. And if you walk up to him, he will turn around and smack you and come out of this loop and just destroy your whole party. So if you walk up to him with Razor Fiend or anyone, he just kills you and wipes your whole party. But if you do this, he's just stuck. So I'm going to speed through this. It's just me casting Flame Arc back to back and refreshing the skeleton. So don't let the skeletons expire. I think it's every maybe five Flame Arcs you want to cast. If you're casting the Flame Arcs back to back, you want to cast skeletons again, so they're always up. Otherwise, he's going to kill you. So otherwise, it is a very straightforward strategy, right? Just casting Fireball, so Nenyo has a few charges of Fireball. I'm just expending all my Flame Arc and everything, because fire does good damage to him. Nothing else really does any damage to him. You can't slumber him because he's undead. You can't do any of that good CC stuff. And boom! Channel Positive Energy, damage undead is the thing that finally takes him down. Because I ran out of fire-based spells there, and I was down to the wire with my summons. But we take him down, and he drops some good stuff. He gives a lot of EXP, over 2,000 EXP. Which is amazing. So I don't know how much EXP going down the Lich Mythic Path gives you, but then he drops this Right Hand of the Martyr, which gives you basically once per day a Death Ward. Not super useful for me because Ember has Death Ward, which lasts for longer, but in a pinch, right? If you run out of Death Ward and you're in a pinch, it's it's going to come in super handy. Plus, Ember has, what, Fortress of Death Ward if you want to cast it on a 5th member. There, you have it. 2-minute Death Ward, or almost 3-minute Death Ward on whoever you want with that item. So it's worth it. I think it's worth taking him out for the EXP, frankly, and then also he drops that Right Hand of the Martyr, which is great. After that, we move on to some of these other optional encounters. So the hallway splits off to the left and right, or north and south, or whatever. Direction doesn't matter because the camera is not fixed. But if you go this way, you run into both sides. This way you run into another wing of the library, and there are some ghosts here, and a stone golem. The Spectres, let me tell you, these Spectres, you need Death Ward for this. So if you don't have Death Ward, don't even try this, because they basically drain 4 levels a hit on unfair, and they hit, like, they land every hit. So you will go down instantly if you try and fight them. But Death Ward makes you not only immune to their level drain, but they literally cannot do damage to you. They do 0 damage, and they drain 0 levels. So they're basically trivial encounters. The one problem with these Spectres is they bug out. So, for some reason, if you let them just keep beating on you, doing 0 damage, their health pool just keeps increasing infinitely, or something. They get some protection or something, and then the amount of damage you have to do to them just keeps increasing. So make sure you don't ignore them, and you focus them down first. You can see what I'm doing, right? I'm focusing them down. The Stone Golem it's level 14, it hits super hard, but it bugs out. It stops attacking occasionally. In fact, I came down here and skipped, so that I cut out about 2 hours worth of footage. In one attempt, I came down here, skipped Zacharias, and then killed these guys in this wing, and the Stone Golem bugged out. He did 0 damage, he just stood there and let me kill him. And I was trying to find a way to replicate the bug, but the closest I could get to it was entering turn-based mode and summoning skeletons, and you can see his turn is getting skipped. Just watch what happens here, right? We're focusing on the Spectres, but just watch, right? His turn is coming up after Camellia. Look at this. Look at this, right? So targeting's a bit of a pain here. Look, he turns to the skeleton, but he doesn't hit. And he bugs out. I don't know how to replicate it, but you can bug him out. We're going to fast forward through this. So we take out the Spectres, and then we come back for the Stone Golem after that. I couldn't bug him out completely, so I had to depend on summons to take him out. So yeah, just speeding through this. It's pretty standard, taking out the Spectres. But their health pool just keeps going up for some reason, so it takes longer and longer, and I'm going through more and more of Nenyo's spells, trying to take them out. But we do eventually get them down. And then I opt to just run away, right? It's the Stone Golem is still alive, but you can see I'm out of summons at this point, and I don't want to risk dying again. So I switch to turn-based mode and run my entire party far, far away, save the game, and then come back, this time with Nenyo and Greater Invis. She gained the ability to go invisible, like, for 8 turns a day. And then we pick up the Duality of Conjuration and Summoning. This item is amazing. It gives you the ability to summon some ridiculously powerful mobs once per day, and gives you a random buff alongside those mobs. And then we use it. We flip it around. I was hoping to use it on Zacharias, but I decided I would rather have all my spells and try Zacharias than come here, waste a bunch of spells, and then go after Zacharias with nothing, because at this point I still didn't know how long it was going to be until we got to the boss. So look at this thing. Look at how strong the mobs this thing summons are, right? 2, 3. So it summons 2 to 3 of them, and look at this. With just these things, we are able to take out the Stone Golem. They're amazing. They're not invincible. They're definitely not invincible. But using summons, mass summons, so a lot of the fights that I do currently, so in recent times. This took place about a week ago, but more recent fights, I just spam summons. Like Thothiel, Darren, Camellia and Lan are just spamming summons back to back, and I just haste everything up and send these guys in alongside them, and well, yeah, they're amazing. Summons really enable a lot of the fights. Even if they're not doing damage, they put a buffer between me and stuff that I really don't want to be dealing with. After that, there's another optional encounter here with some more ghosts. I opt to take these guys out. I'm like, well, I might as well. Because I did say I came here about, I lost 2 hours, well, not lost. I cut 2 hours of footage where I came down here and I took out both sides here. This fight is another, it's just a bunch of those ghosts again. And Death Ward obviously is going to protect me, but just watch. Look at their health pools. There's something really weird about what they do, or how I don't know if their health pools are expanding. It is their health pools expanding because the numbers don't go down. The damage you do doesn't go down. They just take way longer to kill. So let's speed through this real quick. So obviously, the most important thing here is to block the doorway. If you don't block the doorway here, then they just run straight to your backline and kill everyone back there. Or if they don't run straight to your backline, they do eventually get bored because they take a long time to kill, and then they run to your backline. So let's speed through the remainder here. Nothing too interesting, but just look how long the last 3 ghosts take to kill relative to the first ghost. If you can see their health pools, some of them are barely going down at all. I end up having to spam, channel negative energy, which makes a big difference there, but just using Nenyo and Ember spells, it wouldn't be enough to kill them. We'd run out of spells. Then I come back here, loot up, I'm like, well, we're not fighting these golems here. We're just going to skip them, but I am going to pick up everything in the rooms using greater invisibility in case there's something I need. And yeah, then we head on back up outside to the main section of the chapel, and you can see the Queenie is still here, ready and waiting to help us. And there's another encounter. So she's out here because I used her to fight some guys out here.
Save the last one for me.
If you remember the succubus and all those guys off to the side, I used her to take them out. And there's an encounter here where you can get the you can get the jump on them by passing a 26 stealth check, and I opt to, after there are 2 crusaders tied down to a table, and I can't save them. There's no way that I'm going to be able to save them all unfair. So I just, use them as kind of as bait, and then I see how lucky I got there? See how very lucky I got there. Camellia went down but didn't die. Nenyo went down but didn't die. And then Queen Galfrey, she takes care of the rest after that. This could have gone very poorly, obviously. If either Nenyo or Camellia had died, I would have had to reload. But you understand the general strategy, right? So you trigger the fight, pass the stealth check, and then pull these guys back. Just be careful of the Huntmaster. Ideally, you'd want to use haste if you have enough hastes available, but at this point I don't know how long it is until the boss, so I'm like, well, I'm not going to use haste, I'm just going to try without haste. And I pay for it with Camellia and Ember's health pools. So yeah, Queen Galfrey comes in, takes care of those guys, and then we move on. So after that, go through that room where the Crusaders died, disarm the traps, run into Erebeth, take out the corrupted Crusader next door. Poor Erebeth, she's really been affected by this whole experience of being tortured by gargoyles. And then yeah, it's the boss fight here. So we trigger it. This was an accident. I didn't want to trigger it. This is my first attempt. So yeah, you can see what happened here. I ran everybody in. Everybody got caught in hold person except Razor Fiend, who resisted, and then I reloaded. So after a bunch of failed attempts, what I opted to do was leave. I said, well, can Queen Galfrey help me with this fight? And I'm like, well, you know, she's been helping with everything else. I haven't found an encounter that she doesn't help with, so we're going to use her. So I leave my entire party next to her, and I run in with Razor Fiend because he can resist the hold person spell, or the mass hold person spell, trigger the fight, and then I just lead everything back. So
What are you?
You can watch my strategy here. It's pretty hilarious. We'll speed through this bit. So you can see I'm just leading them back, making sure to keep them aggroed. Now you got to be very careful here because some of them are ranged, so you have to be super careful or you will die. And you can see I've led them out of the cathedral now, out of the chapel, and Queen Galfrey has come in to fight them. She runs back in, she starts fighting, and I'm like, okay. And see, I put away my weapons. I've even de-aggroed, so now I can save the game. And then, so the issue with this, right, I saved the game here. The issue with this strategy is Queen Galfrey can die. She can die, but she doesn't stay dead. So Regill doesn't even go down. But like the Hell Knight, right, she goes down there, and then, well, I die as a result of it. But I have a save game, right, it's okay. She wasn't able to take everybody out. There are still a bunch of ghouls that are still alive. And yeah, you can see how tough. So, imagine doing this without Queen Galfrey. Right, you saw what just happened. So here, another cut forward. I've refined my strategy even further. So Queen Galfrey, instead, I'm going to buff her up, give her displacement, give her everything that I can, and then we're going to try our strategy again. So after buffing her up, right, and just buffing her up with everything that I would normally throw onto Razor Fiend, she really is getting the absolute premium treatment here. She deserves it. She deserves to be pampered every now and then. She may be a queen, but, you know, let's treat her like a queen. And then after that, right, you can see she actually triggers the second phase of the encounter by doing enough damage, I guess. But that's not the end of the fight. So I thought it was the end of the fight, but it isn't. And unfortunately, they all reset. So now I have to pull them all again, pull them back to Queen Galfrey. Their health doesn't reset. A bunch of the ghouls died, but the big boss doesn't die. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to pull them. And in the end, I opt for Camellia. I opt for using her Entangle through the wall here. So this is how I did it. Right, I run away with Razor Fiend, cast Entangle in that corner there. It hits the ghouls, and then we run away. The reason I do this is because those two ghouls up in the front, they are ranged enemies, and they do boatloads of damage. You have to be really careful here while you're running away with Camellia, because even one shot from those guys will kill her. So you can see she's out of combat now, and Queen Galfrey has run in and engaged the pack of them. And, well, it doesn't go perfectly, but we do have a save. You saw when I saved, right, and it was right when Queen Galfrey was in combat. So you have to be careful here. Just let her fight it out. I'll show you what I did ultimately to prevent this from happening. So the boss runs off her when she dies. And you can't save if you see the boss. So what you have to do is, I'm doing this with my dog because ideally I don't want to trigger combat here. Ideally what you have to do is, well, ideally she kills him. She kills Nulkineth without any, like what happens here. I switch into turn-based mode, move my dog in, and switch into turn-based mode. That way, Nulkineth. Right, you can see how lucky I got there. He gets 4 attacks, and he kills her. I mean, she kills him. He doesn't kill her. And right, so after that, we are basically done. We're done with this place. We do come back later to clean up. There are a ton more encounters down at the bottom of the canyon, but we don't do that this time. We do head back to base. Thanks for joining me in this one. When we pick up tomorrow, I'm just going to be continuing on with the crusade onwards towards Dresden, cleaning up and stuff like that.